No,
into
I
that.
can't though,
Put your
because
foot
that way I
down.
know they. No, that's that way I know they get home safe. It's just when they do things like order 5 blizzards on Thursday night for them and all their friends when they're high. That's when I'm like, hey, that's for
Well,
car rides,
you're
not
on
ice cream when you're
you're on
stoned out
air,
of your
by the way.
fucking
You're on
minds.
air
Oh
right
hi,
now. You're live.
oh hi.
Just sharing. Just sharing. If you're sharing an
It's a
unguarded
dude. It's a
moment.
common problem. It's a common problem. I was just laughing because I had a conversation. My sons are going to be here. I only have till 4:30 today because it's a birthday weekend here. And long story short, I had a conversation with them this morning. I'm like, guys, listen, you utilize the Uber family plan, which is great, right? It's a safety thing for my kids.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, there are a lot of parents out there that feel the same way about the Uber family plan.
That's
And
better than
so when
getting
I
up
woke
and
up
having to
this,
get your kids yourself, right? I mean, that'd be the
yeah,
worst. So,
yeah, yeah. If you have a little bit of means, you don't ever have to pick up your kids anymore in 2026, right? But they're adults, and they're in university, and one's got a full time, big time gig, and the other one's just out of university. So a couple of them use these the Uber family plan just so I know that they're home, know that they're safe, I can track them, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm
I
saying?
love that.
Just in
I love
case
that. You're
anything
a good
happens.
dad, responsible dad.
Thanks.
I like
But
it.
then I get a receipt this morning for 5 Dairy Queen blizzards from Uber at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And I'm like, how blitzed were you? One of my kids. Doesn't matter which one. How blitzed were you last night when you ordered those blizzards? That, by the way, cost 10 times as much when you order them on Uber, right?
Yeah, but
He's like, yeah, sorry, I used the wrong account. I'm like, well, that's the fourth time this month you've accidentally used the wrong account. So if anybody out there has some advice on how to wean your kids off the Uber family plan, let me know. I'm all
they
ears.
were just doing it to celebrate your birthday, So they bought the blizzards for that reason and that reason alone. We don't have a lot of time, and there is so much to talk about. I know over on the other channel, there's Waj and Ellie and Lev are waxing lyrical about Michael Cohen. We'll get into that later on with Michael and company. And here we are. Here we are. It's Dean and Zev on the FiveStack. There is a lot of news. Go ahead.
Are they live right now?
I think they're
They're
live
live
right
right now
now.
going on. Oh, giving it to fucking Cohen. Good. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I
they're
think
doing that.
so.
We can
I
do the
don't
other
know.
stuff, right?
I don't know. There's
Oh,
so
that's
much
okay.
going on. We can be on
That's
two
okay.
channels at one time. Although that'll be kind of complicated, although we've done it before. Listen, there's so much going on. I didn't even know where to start. Although let's start with Don Lemon, who is on trial today. He pleaded not guilty. He's the Substack star, I guess. He's a Substack star, is what you'd call him. He's a star everywhere. He used to be on CNN. He used to be on
Yeah.
what's that? No, he used to be on CNN. And he's also on Instagram. He's got a huge following. Everyone knows Don Lemon. As you know, he was arrested for attempting to cover a march on a Minneapolis church. And he was arrested under dubious circumstances, being some sort of domestic. They didn't call him a domestic terror threat, but they said he was impeding the right of people to do their worshiping, which
Yeah.
yeah, if that's a crime like that, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Anyway, he came out of court a short while ago. He having pled not guilty. This is what he had to say.
There's son to your left. Right here.
All right, so listen, can you guys hear me without a microphone?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So
Please be loud.
thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yell.
Thank you. I want to just say this isn't just about me. This is about all journalists, especially here in the United States. First off, I'd like to thank everyone again for their support to my colleagues, countless journalists around the world, the Lemon Nation, my family and my friends. You all have showed up for me in a real way, and I am extremely grateful for that. I feel it. For more than 30 years, I've been a journalist, and the power and protection of the First Amendment has been the underpinning of my work. The First Amendment, the freedom of the press, the bedrock of our democracy. The events before my arrest and what's happened since show that people are finally realizing what this administration is all about. The process is the punishment with them. And like all of you here in Minnesota, the great people of Minnesota, I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be silenced. Thank you very much.
He will not be silenced. Good for him. He absolutely
Lemon
is.
Nation, huh?
Lemon Nation. Do you want to Dean Dean country or Dean? It has to be alliteration.
Dean,
right?
yeah, Dean. No, I don't buy into that. I'm bigger than and more important than anybody, and I've got my own nation. I hear people use that, the so and so army or the so and so nation, and every time I do, that my insides crawl. It's like, man, this
Yeah, it
isn't
doesn't
about
feel
you.
right to
But
me
let's
either. But it's
thank you, Lemon Nation. But listen, he didn't get shot. He got charged. This is a fucking boon for Don Lemon, and he knows it, right? This is a financial boon for him. This is a PR boon for him. No, let
the
me
process is
let
a
me
little
talk straight.
taxing. Yeah.
Well, totally. And listen, I'm not taking away from the fact he was targeted for this, but Don Lemon is a smart guy, right? So Don Lemon is using this as an opportunity to, you know, maybe it's a legitimate feigning. Maybe it's not feigning. Maybe it's a legitimate, like, this is about all of us. But then he went right into him and what it means to him and all the support he's getting. And anytime someone paints himself at the center of attention of a story, even though this is about Don Lemon getting arrested for going into a church, and says stuff like, thanks to Lemon Nation, I immediately go like this. See this eye? See this left eye of mine? I go like this. Come on. Come on, Don. Come on, buddy. Come on.
I mean,
so while he's effectively an incredible self promoter and he's got an amazing ability to turn it about himself, what is interesting about this is that they fucking arrested him because he's black and because he's a reporter and because they hate him. All right, I mean, and that's just painfully obvious. Don Lemon did not commit a crime. Don Lemon walked into a church. He was with some other miscreants who went into a church. Is it advisable for you to go into a church? No. But I happen to think churches are like fucking, any other building, bricks and mortar that you can go in anytime. And churches, you're supposed to be able to walk in if you're upset, and you're supposed to be able to talk to people at a church. It's a therapeutic thing when you go in there. And you for them to literally grab a law from like the 1920s, it's a KKK law that they're like, what can we do? And then to go and they had to fire an attorney general in Minnesota to find someone to charge Don, because the first person that was legitimate was like, hey, listen, I'm no Lindsay Halligan. There's no way I'm going to fucking charge Don with this KKK crime from like 1928. And they're like, oh, you're fired. And he's like, no problem. Let's go find. And so they found some other fucking blithering idiot to charge Don. And it has turned into Lemon Nation. Like, it is turned
I mean, it's only
into
going to be good for
Don
him, as
Lemon
you point
is
out.
the man representing everybody right now. It's fucking martyrdom, and it's the dumbest fucking thing among a list of millions of other dumb things the Trump regime has done.
I mean, if you wanted to just boost his ratings, they did that. I mean, they gave him as much profile as he possibly could, and here he is. He's going to be a martyr now for free speech. But having known him for a little bit of time, he's very self-motivated. A lot of people in this business are self-motivated. He's no exception.
You know him?
I have met him a couple of times. He's a very nice guy, but he's also, this is a business. It's a good business for him. He went in with Elon Musk a while ago, and that to me was a sort of a question mark. Why would
He got
go?
fired before his first special came out.
But why, why do that? Why, what Elon Musk is doing? So now he's going to, and I get it. Elon Musk has X, and there's a lot of money involved, but that's also a bit weird to me. But anyhow, I'm not here to call out anybody else. I got plenty of my own things to deal with. Apparently.
You might not be, but I am. That's why I'm
you
here.
can.
It's an old Danny DeVito line from. Have you ever seen the TV show Taxi? Judd Hirsch, Mary Lou Henner. Remember that
show.
Taxi?
Yeah.
Danny DeVito. He goes over and pays a visit to a hairdresser that gave Mary Lou Henner a bad haircut, dumps a bunch of hair dye on her, and looks at Alex Riga, which is Judd Hirsch, and he goes, you might be better than that, but I'm not. That has been my motto my whole life.
It's a good one. Now, this all does connect a little bit with what's going on with Michael Cohen, because Michael Cohen is also trying to threaten everybody with a lawsuit in order to keep them quiet. But then there's this new video that showed up this morning that Lev Parnas found of Michael Cohen on the PBD show, which I've never watched it in my life, but it's apparently a very popular show. And on this show,
I believe it stands for Peanut Butter Dicks, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, just really?
Yeah. Yeah. PBD,
Okay.
Peanut Butter and Dicks. Yeah.
No, I don't get this guy at all, because it's hilarious, actually. It's kind of funny the way he flips so much that he doesn't know which side he's on any given topic. Like, it's kind of, it's bizarre, and makes you question a lot of things. But I'm going to just pick a random clip, and let's just listen to what Michael Cohen had to tell PPD.
Be part of that 2%. Huh. 98%? Well, you must be a genius. How come you and every single prosecutor has a 98% conviction rate? And the answer? Because they control all the levers. They control the whole game.
Still?
Still. And with me, what happened? I didn't want to testify. I was subpoenaed every single time within which to testify. Had I not had to testify the first time around, none of this would have gone on. I had no desire within which to. And it's not a question, you use the word flip. It's not a question of flip. It's a question of answering questions, responding to
No, but
questions.
you flipped, though.
It's not a flip.
Michael, you
Okay,
flipped.
when you
went
flip,
on every
you
single
flip,
channel. You talk
I
negatively
understand.
about
You
the
flip
president.
Only when you flip, only
Yeah.
when you get a benefit from it. What benefit have I ever received? In other words, think about the mob. Think about the mob when they flip on their
I
boss.
will tell you. Yeah.
Okay, what did I get?
Oh no! What you got, you didn't get. What you wanted, you didn't get.
What did I want?
What didn't you want? You didn't want a pardon from Biden. You didn't hope that he would pardon you like
by the way, with all
he
due
said.
respect-
He said, "I want to depoliticize the concept of pardoning," and then he ends up pardoning his son and
his
Fauci
family.
and his family and all the J6, committee. all
Mind you,
this
when
stuff.
I asked for
Yeah.
that pardon, I was already finished and I was already off paper 6 years. So flipping, you don't do it post facto, right? I'm not asking for a post mortem award. I wanted it.
but
early on, but
Michael,
that wasn't happening.
So I've sat down with actual mobsters. I've probably done more mob interviews than anybody else in the podcast world. And you talk any one of them, they'll come and talk to me.
I mean, this goes on and on and on, but it is kind of funny, Dean. It's gotten, it's almost satirical the amount of times he tries to flip it in one interview. Like, he has no idea which side he's on at all. Firstly, he loved every bit of media attention he got when he got called to testify in front of the House or the Senate or whatever it was. Even though he got caught lying about 1,000,000 times, he had to come back and say, "I'm sorry, I lied." And again, he had to come back, and he's been labeled the greatest liar of all time by one of these prosecutors who've investigated him. I mean, he loves it. He loves the media circus. He loves being in front of the cameras. And I mean, the fact that he's now saying he did not want to testify, that he felt coerced, I don't know. I don't even know what there is to say about this, really. It's kind of like, oh, you're blocked. I can't hear you for some reason. And I think it's your microphone might be off. Why can't I hear you? I'm not getting you at all, so I think it's your side, or you might have to. You might have to reconnect. Otherwise, I don't think it's me. For a change, it's not me. I think it's the way it's coming in. Well, while Dean does that, I'll play you another clip from Michael Cohen as he was on this PBD show. I mean, I am generally quite patient with people, and I like talking to people from all sides. It just increases the ability. There he is.
There we go.
There you are. I like talking to people. I like talking to people from all sides. I think Michael Cohen should be heard by as many people as we can possibly be hearing from or talking to him. But I just find he is so contradictory all the time that there's no real Michael Cohen anymore.
No, he's lost in a sea of his own bullshit, and I feel sorry for him, to be honest with you. It's funny, I watch him on the Peanut Butter and Dick show. I watched him on Joy Ann Reid the other day. His story changes, and some backstory about that interview on the Peanut Butter and Dick program. I don't know that that's the name of it, to be honest with you. I'm just making it up. But back that was recorded apparently 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was pre-recorded and recently released. And apparently, according to Lev, and people need to go to Lev Remembers to get this information. He actually might be waxing about it now. That was for an audience of one. Apparently, he has been desperately trying to get a hold of Donald Trump, desperately trying to get a hold of anybody that he can associate with Donald Trump to go and meet with him about a pardon, to go and meet with him about who knows what. Maybe it's getting back on the inside. Maybe it's taking his old red velvet chair next to the Trump desk back. Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter to me. But I want to point to something in that interview because I did watch it. Lev sent it to you and I yesterday. And I know there's going to be kind of an all-call sort of Substack tonight. I know we're going to get together around 8 or 9 o'clock to discuss this. But let me just kind of set the table if I can without taking too much steam from my friend Lev Remembers at levremembers.com. This is simply about him, Michael Cohen, trying to outrun the jam that he's in. What is the jam that he's in? he talked about it in that podcast after, wailing away about how Donald Trump, in the 14 years I was there with the boss, the 14 years, I never once saw the boss talk to Jeffrey Epstein. Never once. Never once. I never heard him have a phone call with Jeffrey Epstein. I never watched him have a meeting with. I never fucking was at a lunch with Jeffrey. I'm never anything about Jeffrey Epstein. Never. Donald Trump never did. Like for like 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
he went on about how Donald Trump is never been in the. He was so close to the red velvet chair. I was there every fucking day with the boss. Still calling him the boss, may I remind you.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah,
a bad
he's-
thing to do if you want to get back into Cheetos graces. However, and this one word, however, appeared. However, Michael Cohen says there was, and this is when his tone changed in the Peanut Butter and Dick podcast. He's like, however, there was one file, if I remember, that came across my desk.
Yeah.
And this file had, something to do with, a Jane Doe or a Mary Doe, and it was a Doe. And then I come up to the boss and I go, hey, you got a minute? And he's like, what do you want, Michael? And the boss, I just say, listen, boss, we got a fucking problem. We got this crazy thing, this lawsuit. It's the suit. The young person's like, hey, and he's like, make it go away. Make it go away, Michael. And so that's what I did. I just went to make it go away. How am
At
I
least he-
supposed to know?
At least he admitted it. Did he really say that?
That's exactly what he said. He admitted to it in this fucking interview where he said he still has no idea who he was trying to buy off. He has no idea how old the person was. But there was one file that came across my desk. However,
Just
it
the
was
one.
one file. Now I remember it. Like it was, for all the things that Michael Cohen is not, and all the things that Michael Cohen is, and I'll let everybody else decide that. I have never in my life watched a story change so many times in real time with someone over the age of 7. Like I have, and keep in mind, I've raised 3 boys effectively on my own.
Yeah.
I'm a master bullshit sniffer, right? I got 3 young men that are now in their 20s, early 20s, late 20s. And I know when they're full of shit. Michael Cohen is full of shit. What kind of shit? That's up for you to decide, and it's up for him to give up. But poor Michael Cohen is just swimming in his own shit today.
Yeah, I don't think
yet
he's.
again.
He just changes depending on his audience, I think, or the mood of the
Yeah.
day, or whatever it is. I don't know if your microphone is on fully. I think it might be your speakerphone that we're hearing through, or your headphones.
Check 1, check 2.
But not your
How's that? No?
not your nice dulcet tones microphone. But I can hear you. I can hear you, and it's all good. So we'll leave Michael Cohen. We will come back to him later on. A bunch of us will be doing a live with looking at all these clips and really assessing all the stuff. I've got some brand new information, by the way, on Cohen and what he really did in that one file, and why even that was a giant screw up. Because, and I will explain it all later. So watch us later on.
Imagine that.
Imagine him screwing something up. Well, also, is it weird that he's calling everyone like they're all now admitting they're mobsters? It's like, let's just officially say we're all mobsters now, and treat everything like it's a mob story, understand everything like it's a mob story. Like it's no longer a conversation about about a president or about someone being falsely accused. It's all about he's a mobster. And everyone's, oh yeah, let's accept that.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct. That he is a mobster. Can you hear me?
I can. It's still coming off your AirPods or something.
is it?
I think it's not your.
Yeah, I've got some sound issues here today.
But I hear you.
apologize.
I hear you
See if
so
can-
well, so don't
okay.
worry about it.
All right. Listen, that's what these guys were wrapped up in. If you watch our Coffee and Tea with Lev and Dean this last Saturday, we kind of got into that. And Lev, to his point, went through. You were on that Coffee and Tea. He went through his entire history working with hustlers. Hustlers is his word for mobsters. It's how he grew up. He grew up making a living in Odessa. He was part of that crew with the Trump machine, with Michael Cohen's family at El Carib. He knows Michael Cohen. He knows exactly what Michael Cohen's all about. And Michael Cohen loves being a gangster. Like, he is all, if I'm not mistaken, Michael Cohen is all about The Godfather. He thinks The Godfather might be the greatest movie ever made. He thinks that involved in some kind of, circle of trust with a whole bunch of other fucking losers. And he wants back into that circle of trust. And what was amazing is what made him run back into that circle of fucking gobshite, not even trust. What made him run back in there was when people started going, "Hey, Michael, did you have anything to do with paying off an underage girl on behalf of Trump? That information would be really useful right now." No, fuck you. That was his response. It was another underage girl, and he's like, "Well, Michael, that may be true, but it's also bad, right?
Yeah.
And could you just kind of give us some information?" No, fuck you. You're smearing me. You're smearing me. You're you're insulting me. You owe me an apology. And then all of his friends decided they didn't want to be friends with him anymore. I mean, people like Joe Walsh. I'll leave Malcolm out of it. I haven't talked to Malcolm about it because Malcolm doesn't want to talk about it, and I don't want to talk to Malcolm about it either. Malcolm Nance, Malcolm's like honestly Switzerland, just here to do the job of duty to warn. But then there's Lev, who's known him for 40 years, known the family for 40 years, who is like, man, I know what he knows, and I know he's lying. And who knows more than Lev Parnas when it comes to everybody involved in the Trump mob relationship world?
That's the thing. It's hard when you got Lev Parnas, who really does know everything that went on, and it's really difficult for anyone to argue with him because he's showing that he's truly changed a person. We'll talk about that a little later on. Let's get into the number 4 story, which is all about the Epstein files. So breaking news just out of Norway. Former Norwegian Prime Minister, I haven't confirmed this directly, but apparently former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland, who was a big part of the Epstein email dump that we spoke about. There was a conversation about how Mr. Jagland was a conduit for Epstein's briefing the Russians about Donald Trump, as he used to do with Vitaly Churkin. That is an email that's found inside the Epstein file. Well, the former prime minister there, that's a big deal, has been arrested at his home following the Epstein scandal. So that is just breaking right now. If that's the case, that is incredibly significant while we wait for Dean to pop back in here. It also actually ties in with the story I published a few minutes ago on Narrative, which is all about how Peter Thiel connects to Russia and how it was Epstein who really used Peter Thiel to connect Russia to the Trump campaign. I spent all night reading every single email that Epstein and Thiel had between each other, and it really is apparent to me that there are 2 instances where Epstein introduces Peter Thiel to a Russian diplomat who's Vitaly Churkin, is well known for being a spy handler, and the other guy was Boyakov, who was a deputy minister for Putin's economic ministry, in charge of the St. Petersburg thing that they do over there every year, the economic development conference that they do. And he is very close to Epstein, but is also an FSB spy. I mean, he's trained as an FSB guy, the FSB college or wherever it is they go and do these things. And so here you have Peter Thiel now connecting the Russians because of Epstein's introductions to the Trump campaign back in 2016. And there's $40 million, which are also involved here, which, is potentially an investment in a fund, but it's still very unusual that you've got Epstein introducing Peter Thiel to these 2 prominent people, and it's all happening in that window when Trump was first running for the presidency in 2016. So Peter Thiel has a lot of answering to do about what his involvement was and whose bidding was he doing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me better now?
But it's not better. It's still the same thing, unfortunately.
Oh, it's the same. For fuck's sake, sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my ears.
No, it's not. I'm getting people that are telling me my audio sucks too. I'll figure it out in the next day or two. We've only got about 15, 20 minutes left anyway. So, listen, one of the things that I think is really important for people to realize is that Peter Thiel is the devil. Peter Thiel is the centrifuge of the relationships between the oligarchy, Palantir, everything involved with surveillance in the United States, and Jeffrey Epstein. That relationship was bangarang for a long time. Not only is Peter Thiel deeply involved in the Epstein pedophile sex trafficking cover-up, he was a client of Jeffrey Epstein's, a financial client and otherwise. And one of the things to come out of this is the connection between Russia, Peter Thiel, Epstein, and Donald Trump. You need proxies and plausibility, deniable plausibility to be able to get away with what they're trying to get away with. And they're still sort of surfing and skating off of the Epstein relationships, trying to not just completely erase how Donald Trump came to get the support of Russia over time, but how it connects through Peter Thiel, how Russia, Donald Trump, Elon Musk work. And what's been really interesting about this $3.5 million document dump to me is the absolute knowledge that the broligarchy was so deeply involved with Elon Musk, with Peter Thiel, with Mark Zuckerberg, with fucking Bill Gates. They were so deeply enmeshed and intertwined with dealing with other countries through Jeffrey Epstein. He was the fucking ticket. He was the hinge. He was the guy in the access point that went from Thiel, Musk, Zuckerberg, the American oligarchy, into Mossad, into Israel, into Russia, into all these countries these guys couldn't get a footprint in for the same purposes that everybody else wanted something to do with Jeffrey Epstein, which was money, influence, and access. That's it. That's all. Power, influence, access. Power is money, influence is influence, access to all that is the most important thing. So now we're watching the history of those relationships come to light in these little kind of morsels, right? And one of the morsels that I found very interesting was one of the Epstein files victims, Sarah Krause, I believe is her name. I might be getting her last name wrong. Today published a list of men who sexually abused her on Epstein Island, on Lolita Express, or in the presence or because of Jeffrey Epstein. Elon Musk, other oligarchs I won't name right now, not Peter Thiel because she's a woman. There's another assertion there that Peter Thiel may have abused some young men who are also children involved in this. Peter Thiel is so deeply wrapped up. So is Elon Musk. And now Elon Musk's brother Kimball is part of the equation. It seems that Peter Thiel got to Elon Musk through his brother Kimball. How do I know this? Because we now have receipts. I don't know if you have the email.
I have. I've not personally vouched for this thing, but yes, I have it. And
I have.
Okay. Good,
I have. I've checked with enough people that I know
Okay.
that this is a real email from the Epstein files, where the allegation here, which is why you see Kimball in a cowboy hat, is not only did Epstein, and there are several emails with Epstein
Yeah.
supplying young ladies to Kimball Musk, Elon Musk, Epstein going, hey, I sent a nice young girl to Kimball, make sure he doesn't hurt her. Like, these are real fucking emails
Yeah.
between Epstein and Elon Musk. Elon's like, gotcha, Captain, no problem. But this is really interesting, this exchange. I want to read this to you because it leans into the poly aspects of Epstein's sexuality and the sexuality of everybody involved here. It alleges in an email from Kimball Musk to Jeffrey Epstein that these two tried to forge some type of relationship, a romantic relationship. And in this email, Kimball's basically talking about, you can read it all you like. I'm going to post it a little later for everybody to have some fun with. I want to have a relationship with you. I just can't right now. You know, I wasn't in the mood to hang out the other night. Some very personal intonations here. And when I read this today, I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. This was this morning when I got out of bed. Someone
says here,
sent it to me. It's like,
but I'm just
what does he
not
say?
able to be and to do a real relationship right now. Would you be up to going back a step to just dating? We would see each other on weekends when we can and focus on our fun stuff. Bringing you into my drama can't be fun for you, and it isn't healthy for me either. I could tell you were sad that you couldn't join me in Boulder, Colorado, but honestly, I don't think I could handle staying relaxed with you in town. That's what he says. That's what Kim. Listen, if they want, look, I've heard rumors about Jeffrey Epstein being gay for years. He probably was, all over the sexual spectrum. He may have also been using that just to be a spy. You often have to do those kinds of things if you're a spy. You do. It's part of the job.
Just remind me never to become a spy.
Yeah, you'd be terrible as a spy. You're so like, you get so weird around gay things. But
No, I don't. I don't get weird around gay things. It's just when the penis makes an appearance. That's when I'm like, hey, listen, I don't even like my own.
not going there. Not going there.
Dude, it's true. I'm like, I like everything. I've got lots of gay friends. You're gay. We're pals. I don't care. I don't care what anybody does. But
What you do is what you do.
Yeah, it's like when someone says, "Hey, I'm into this variety of woman," and I'm like, "I'm not into that variety of woman." And for me, it's when someone's like, "Hey, you into dudes?" I'm like, "No, I respect everybody equally, but the reason I'm not gay is I don't even I don't even like looking at my own wiener." So,
Yeah.
it's just I know I'm not gay, which is fine. I don't care what Kimball Musk does. I don't care what Jeffrey Epstein does. But to your point, the poly aspects of Jeffrey Epstein, this guy gave it all. Like, I mean, if this is true, he gave it all for his craft.
He did it for a lot of people, women and men. So is it unusual to have the Kimball Musk thing? Sure, it's unusual to hear this kind of detail. It is quite sweet that they're actually having a romantic conversation about it. I'm kind of impressed they have feelings, but beyond that, it's kind of like I'm not surprised by it. Because I've heard so much about this and Wexner, and I've heard so much about there being a lot of relationship talk. And so, is he gay? Yes. Did he have a small penis? Yes, as well. Jeffrey Epstein had a small penis, and also
Looked like a lemon, according to people.
yeah, and often
Small
wasn't
lemon.
yeah, not that engaged
Baby
with
lemon.
these female people, I guess, that he was busy with. Can I get back to my other story for a second here?
Sorry, yeah.
No. I love that. That was amazing. So I did this chart because I knew we could actually use some explaining. This thing moves around, which I'm very proud of myself for being able to do. But this here is Peter Thiel. This here is Jeffrey Epstein. There he is. This is Vladimir Putin. This is Donald Trump. And these are all the connections they have between them. Elon Musk, Leon Black, Vitaly Churkin, the ambassador I just told you about, Sergei Belyakov, who's the Russian spy I was telling you about. Victor Vekselberg's connected there with Ehud Barak. Mark Zuckerberg's there. There he is. Steve Bannon is there. Jared Kushner is there. And Tom Barrack is there. And these are all from the new files that I was just reading last night from everything that relates to Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel. This relationship map reads like a Trump-Russia guide to how to steal an election. I mean, it is
Impressive,
everybody.
dude.
It was like I was getting flashbacks to 2016 when we started Narrative, and I was like, oh my God, look at all these names. Well, all the same people are there. It's all exactly the same names. There's Kirill Dmitriev, the Rothschilds. They show up everywhere. Reid Hoffman. But the point behind this is that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Peter Thiel to a whole world of people. It should be this way, related to Russia. To this Russian complex over here, and he was doing that while Peter Thiel was the key guy from Silicon Valley to support Donald Trump, and also a keynote speaker, and also on the transition committee. And that makes me feel like, maybe it was a little compromised. Just a little.
Makes you feel that way? Dude, this is incredible work. This is a Venn diagram. That is a fucking map.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of the most important people in the destruction of the United States of America emanating out of Russia through a conduit named Jeffrey Epstein and another fucking conduit named Donald J. Trump. And it attaches itself to the oligarchy, and the oligarchy, which is currently operational, running amok in the EU and in the United States to accomplish the same goals. This is fucking amazing work. If you are, folks, is this in your latest piece?
No, I just did this for us here for FiveStack because I thought people could use it.
Oh my God, this is fucking unbelievable. Everybody, I want you to hit those hearts and send this to as many people as humanly possible. This is like peering through the fucking looking glass of bullshit.
Yeah.
This removes all the color from the kaleidoscope, Zeb. This is just incredible work, my friend.
Because
Absolutely
it really does show that.
unbelievable.
It shows that Trump was connected to Russia via Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has said this before. No one has said about Jeffrey Epstein, that he's in any way connected to the 2016 election of Donald Trump. But I'm saying it here because of Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was so involved in that committee in setting up the administration. He walked in there with his team of people. Plus, he was involved with Jared Kushner. He sent all these Palantir people with Jared Kushner to that digital team with the Cambridge Analytica people to basically run Facebook data. He was the founder of Facebook, so he had access to all that Facebook data that they were using to manipulate Americans to elect Donald Trump. So Peter Thiel is not an accidental character in this. He is a conduit, in my opinion, to the Trump campaign for Jeffrey Epstein's Russian operation. And
someone we're not talking about enough in that capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
We talk about sex crimes. We talk about financial crimes. It's the first time I've looked at this and said, oh, he's part of the rigging of the election. This is the first time I thought he's actually, Epstein was involved in rigging the 2016 election that Donald Trump was elected. And that is stunning. Vitaly Churkin, by the way, ambassador to the United Nations for Russia, his office 8 minutes away from Jeffrey Epstein's home, is also the guy who first recruited, basically, Donald Trump for the KGB in 1987. And he was Epstein's handler, and it appears like he had a connection now with Peter Thiel, previously undisclosed. I mean, you don't have to look very hard to see where all the dots connect here. Epstein appears to have had a role in the 2016 election to elect Donald Trump.
Not only did he have a role, he had input after the fact.
Oh yeah,
and there's a couple of emails that go around between Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein about, are you going to Mar-a-Lago this weekend? This is in 2019.
Yeah.
Epstein says to Peter Thiel in one exchange, yeah, I'll be there. I have to come up with 3 names to replace Steve Mnuchin.
Oh yeah, he was involved in all of that. He was involved in choosing the cabinet.
He was involved in choosing the cabinet, and we're barely getting to those emails now. That's what these dumps are all about. Jeffrey Epstein didn't just play a central role in Donald Trump's pedophilic life. He played a central role in filling out his administration and his cabinet. And when things went sideways, he brings Steve Bannon in, who is clearly just as pissed off as Jeffrey Epstein was, because Donald Trump was going to sacrifice Jeffrey Epstein at the altar of Donald Trump, which he always does anytime things get squirrely. And if you ask me, had Jeffrey Epstein fucking murdered by his cellmate. So long story short, that is unbelievable that you've put this together, because this small diagram that you can move around, this graph that you can move
Steve
around.
Bannon, by the way, I was looking for him.
That is, you can see it. You can see it in the graph. Ladies and gentlemen, send this to as many people as you can. That little box, the heart, send it. Hammer the heart, send this with a little box and the arrow to everybody that wants to figure out exactly what the fuck is going on, because this is what's going on.
Yeah, I've got to put more names on here, but I do like the 3D piece of this, and I like that you can drag these bits around.
I think it's cute. You can move all the pieces around and go, hey, let's make Jeffrey Epstein Vladimir Putin's best friend. See what happens. Move that over to Vladimir Putin.
Well, I mean,
move Epstein over to Putin.
I can't move him over to Putin, but what I can do is I can move him closer. I can do like there, and then you can see what happens. It's
plausible deniability.
He's not connected directly, but he's connected through Sergei. Exactly. He is connected directly. I lied. They've obviously met, but we don't have any proof that they met. We know that they scheduled meetings, and there's also some people say he was his client, his personal client, but I haven't seen any proof that he's been his client or with him, but I do know they met. But certainly Blyakov and Deripaska and Vexelberg and Churkin, wherever he is back here somewhere.
Dmitriev.
They all connect. They all connect.
Yes,
so it's
sir.
not.
Yes, sir.
It's just one big happy family to try and subvert American democracy for the sake of Russia, the oligarchy, and also the surveillance state that they've been. This is what they were developing, is the surveillance state. So their Palantir could basically take over the government of the United States, which they've done with their billions and billions of dollars of contract and Doge.
And you know what? Let me just kind of offer this up as a solution for these guys. They thought that if they got into a position where they were like Jeffrey Epstein, they were too ensconced in different institutions, they'd be too big to kill. A little warning for all of you.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein got murdered in his cell. No one in this is too big to kill at this point.
Disappeared because Vitaly Churkin also died in 2017. Was shot. There were 7 different diplomats, Russian people involved in espionage that found themselves dead after the elections of 2016, 2017. Probably because they knew too much, and there was a fear that they were going to talk about things too much. Jeffrey Epstein was also found dead with the fear that he knew too much. So it's
John-Luc Brunel was also found dead with the fear that he knew too
yeah,
much.
exactly.
So,
And so the Yaglin thing is interesting, though. They have a prime minister join the list of scalps, which is where I was going to with the story, is interesting for a Norwegian prime minister to be arrested for his association with the Jeffrey Epstein is the first head of state that we've seen fall to the Epstein scandal. Also earlier today, Kathy Rumler, the former Obama White House counsel, but also the chief counsel for JP Morgan, for Jamie Dimon, and currently, or was until recently, the Goldman Sachs chief legal officer, she resigned because of the scandal, because of her relationship with Epstein. She used to call Epstein Uncle Jeffrey. Well, Uncle Jeffrey's now lost her job. They had conversations at least once a day, looking at his email traffic. So they knew it. And then also knew today, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of DP World, which handles 10% of global trade, he resigned today. You know, torture videos will do that to you. So he's gone. And that's a really big deal because that's a whole different culture that he operates in.
You know what's crazy is they can arrest former prime ministers of Norway. They can defrock and send into the woods Prince Andrew from the fucking royal family. They can unload a sheik and a sultan from his position. These are birthright positions in some cases. But they can't get Donald fucking Trump.
Or Howard Lutnick?
Or Howard fucking Lutnick. I swear to God, I was only on the island for lunch. I have no idea what happened.
Oh my God. You should do a Michael Cohen Lutnick mashup. I want to see that conversation.
And an RFK Jr. one. Yeah, I'll work on that.
I mean, look, there's just a couple more here, and then I know you got to go. So Brad Karp, the chairman of Paul Weiss, we knew he had to go. Pete Mandelson, the UK ambassador, now under criminal investigation. Morgan McSweeney, the UK.
Oh, he was charged today.
Was he charged? Was he charged?
Yes.
Okay, so then he's been charged. That's another big name that's been charged today. Morgan McSweeney, the UK's Prime Minister's former chief of staff. He's gone, of course. Miroslav Lajčák, the Slovakia's national security advisor. He's gone. Joanna Rubinstein, Swedish UN official, is gone. Peter Attia, chief science officer, gone. David Ross, art curator, School of Visual Arts. He's resigned.
Larry Summers.
He's gone.
Guy in Harvard, gone.
Yeah. Still in office. Pam Bondi, still in office. Lutnick, still in office. Kash Patel, all these people still in office. Donald Trump, still in office. Yeah. When is that going to change? It's going to happen. Mark my words. I know you got to go, Dean. So you can do that. I can just do I guess I can do the last two stories on my own. You go and have a nice birthday if you want.
All right, because my son's going to walk through the door in a couple of minutes.
And I want you to have a nice time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know me, I'm here for democracy, but family comes first. And I want to thank everybody for all the birthday wishes, all the kind words. And I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to drag Lev into the coffee and tea with, drag Zev into coffee and tea with Lev and Dean tomorrow morning. I want everybody to pay attention. Follow my friend Zev Shalev at narrative.org. Please, please do. He put out a piece today that we talked about Epstein and how central he was to connecting Russia and Trump and how he brought those relationships together. If you read one thing today, if you subscribe to one account today, go to narrative.org. Thanks, my friend. You finish up, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Dean. Have a great birthday. You deserve it. Dean Blundell from deanblundell.substack.com. You have to follow this guy. If you haven't done it so yet, do it now. There is no one more entertaining and no one more well-informed. I mean, he really knows his stuff. deanblundell.substack.com, especially if you're Canadian. He really provides you a whole different perspective. And in fact, he provides us a Canadian perspective for everybody. It's so refreshing to get news from his perspective as Dean Blundell goes and celebrates his birthday with his family. What a good guy. What a family guy. Subscribe. Give him a birthday gift. Subscribe. Become a paid subscriber to his very, very, very good Substack. What are we doing now? We're at number 3. Is it number 3 or is it number 2? The number 3 story, let me find the right super here for you. Maybe, if I can. If not, I'll just yak a little bit. There you go. No, this was the right one. This one. So at 12:01 tonight, the Department of Homeland Security shuts down for the 3rd time in recent months. Senate Democrats have blocked Republican funding bills on Thursday demanding reforms to ICE after federal agents killed 2 American citizens in Minneapolis. We know, of course, Renee Good, a 37-year-old mother of three, was shot dead January 7th. Alex Preddy killed January the 24th while filming police. But there was also another story, which I don't know if you guys saw, the Washington Post today. I'll pull it up here, but I was just stunned to read the new details that have just been published about a $38.3 billion plan by ICE in order to turn warehouses into detention centers. Newly released documents by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement expects to spend $38.3 billion on its plan to acquire warehouses across the country and retrofit them into immigration detention centers that can hold tens of thousands of immigrants, according to agency documents provided to New Hampshire's governor and published on the state's website on Thursday. ICE plans to buy and convert 16 buildings across the country to serve as regional processing centers, each holding 1,000 to 1,500 immigrants, detainees at a time. According to one of the documents, an overview of the detention plan, another 8 large-scale detention centers will hold 7,000 to 10,000 detainees at a time and serve as the primary locations for international removals. This is obviously not just intended for immigrants. We know how this will roll out. We've seen it in other autocratic states. This will turn into a detention center for dissidents. This will turn into a detention center for people who disagree. This will turn into a detention center for the other, especially as the economy craters and everyone starts thinking, who can we blame? It'll be the LGBT community. It'll be the leftist, liberal, communist plots. It'll be everybody but the Trump administration who are really causing all of this. This is a huge find by the Washington Post and is a huge story. Now, I know there was a story about a Canadian-owned warehouse that landed up not being sold in part of this kind of deal. But I can't believe the number here, $38 billion. That buys you a lot of healthcare. It buys you a lot of other things. And it's stunning that this is going ahead in real time because we all know exactly what it's all about. We all know exactly where it leads to as we turn America into more of a fascist state than we have been already. The number two story, which we've already mentioned, is all about Don Lemon and wherever that went, there it is. Can you see that? That's not right. This one, here we go. Hey, sometimes it's so confusing. Where is it? This one. Don Lemon pleading not guilty. We mentioned that already. We played you a clip from that. And the number one story was going to be all about my investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel. So we've already done all the news, and we did it with Dean here. So that's going to be the show for today. There will be a show later on. I'm not sure, probably around 8 o'clock at night, when Lev Parnas and I and a few other people are going to join, and we're going to take a look at Michael Cohen again. Now, a lot of people keep saying to me, why are you picking on Michael Cohen? I am not picking on Michael Cohen. I have nothing against Michael Cohen. I'm investigating the President of the United States and his connections to international crime and an international crime syndicate that also includes Jeffrey Epstein, as we're finding out. And he may have been elected by that international crime syndicate through his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And Michael Cohen can swear up and down as much as he wants that he was not aware of any of this, but that just isn't cutting mustard here. We can see exactly what he did and when he did. And, he can say that he's never been to Prague, and I can't argue the fact that he has been or hasn't been to Prague. But I can tell you one thing for certain. He was involved in trying to get a Moscow Trump Tower built for Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, as they were going to present this unifying plan of Putin and Trump together. That was all Michael Cohen's bidding that was done during the elections in 2016, by the way, during the exact time that I was sharing earlier on with you, that Jeffrey Epstein was connecting Peter Thiel to a Russian ambassador with known espionage ties and to another former FSB student who was the deputy at the economic ministry in Russia. And by the way, one which also sponsored a visa for Jeffrey Epstein. So this is becoming clearer and clearer now. So Michael Cohen might be running, he might be changing his story, he might be looking for pardons or whatever. I have nothing against Michael Cohen. I wish him well. Personally, I don't really know him. I mean, I've covered him many, many years, and I've always raised these questions around him. I don't know why now he's getting upset about it, but I wish Michael Cohen all the best. I wish everybody all the best. My job is to cover these stories, to tell you what's going on, and where there are facts that just don't, make sense, when they just don't add up. When you've got clearly facts that don't, that just don't add up to what he's saying. I can't go in here and tell you that they're lies or anything like that. I've got to represent the facts, and that's what we're trying to do for you. So. That is the show today. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Thiel is a Russian asset. Well, I think that's what we're trying to say today in all our content, in our investigation. I was blown away by some of these emails. I can go through some of them with you while we have a few minutes here. Where is that list of emails? It is mind-boggling sometimes when you read these things and you think, well, why did, these people must have been aware that one day they could possibly be exposed for all of this. And they were at some point. And there's one of these emails, actually, they moved to Signal. So we lose all track of what really went on because they decided to move to Signal, which, of course, is a telltale sign that something is not quite kosher. So let me see if I can just increase the viewing space here, and then I'll show you what's going on here. So this is a whole bunch of emails that I put together from yesterday's long read of every single email that Jeffrey Epstein sent to Peter Thiel. And I mean, some of them was like innocuous as anything. I mean, some of them are just, whatever, who cares? There's one in here which discusses Peter Thiel's drug habits, how much GHB he was doing on a daily basis, which sounds awfully unhealthy for you, and a lot. Sorry. This is not because of the drug habit conversation. I just get very allergic to these lights or something. I don't know what happens to me whenever I get on the air. Anyhow, where was I? Let's look at all these other emails here, which are significant. So this is a really interesting one. This is Leslie Groff, Jeffrey Epstein's assistant, saying, "Do you wish me to coordinate with Churkin and Thiel appointments for tomorrow?" So this is, look at the date, October the 3rd, 2016. We're heading into the elections, 5 weeks before the elections, and she's organizing this meeting with the ambassador to the United Nations and a known handler and Peter Thiel. That's very unusual behavior at that time. And Peter Thiel must have known better. He wouldn't have gone to this meeting just unaware. He knew exactly what he was running into. Here's another one. When Jeffrey Epstein says here, "Don't know how well you know Tom Barrack. He is great." And then Peter Thiel says, "Who is that?" And Jeffrey Epstein says at the top here, you can see it, "He'll be a speaker at the convention. He runs Colony Capital, solid, great real estate judgment, Donald's fundraiser." But at no place does it say here that he was also under investigation for being a foreign asset for the UAE. And that would have been an interesting piece of information to share with your friend as you're introducing them. And this goes on and on and on. There's a lot of pages here. Then he says, this is when he finds out, Jeffrey Epstein finds out that Peter Thiel will be a delegate, Trump delegate. Fun, he says. Then he says, "Are you enjoying LA? I liked your Trump exaggeration is not lies." At one point, I remember Peter Thiel saying that these aren't lies, he's just exaggerating. Peter Thiel says he can't complain so far. They have quite a long exchange of trying to figure out when they can meet each other. And then here's another one, which is really fascinating. This is, I'll start here at the bottom, July 1st, 2015. Look at the date, July 1st, 2015. I think Trump's campaign was a baby at the time. Maybe he had even launched his campaign. I can't remember. Maybe he has. Maybe you guys can tell me exactly when. But on that date, Sergey, Peter Thiel, meet Sergey Blyakov, who we now know was a former FSB trained officer. He went to the FSB training school. He landed up working for the economic ministry after spending time working for Oleg Deripaska, another person who's very acquainted with Russia's intelligence services. And then Peter Thiel responds, "Sergey, let me know when you are in San Francisco, and it would be a good to find the time to meet. I'm CCing my assistant Alyssa to help coordinate." Peter, Then Sergey responds. You can see the Cyrillic text over there directly from the Russian Federation government email servers. Peter, I'm going to arrive to San Francisco on July 8th and look forward to seeing you. Hi, Alyssa. This is Sergey again. Could you please propose some time slots for us and Mr. Thiel? And this goes on and on and on. So, did Sergey Lyakov come to Palo Alto for that conference to meet Peter Thiel? In all likelihood. Was it set up by Elon Musk? Absolutely. I'm sorry, by Jeffrey Epstein? Well, absolutely. Does that mean that, Thiel is a spy for Lyakov? No, but it means that he had contact with a very high-ranking person in the Russian Federation who happens to have a history with the FSB, and he's connected to Oleg Deripaska. And by the way, Kirill Dmitriev, because the Russian Development Economic Investment Fund, RDIF, run by Kirill Dmitriev, well, Lyakov was the deputy there. You know who else was on that board of the RDIF? Is a guy named Leon Black, a very good friend and funder of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the thing about Ehud Barak, just so people don't accuse me of ignoring what Israel was doing. I spoke to Ehud. He'll be in Israel same time as you. He'll make time, meal or no meal. He's the smartest person in the country, in my opinion. Can you send email intros, says Peter Thiel. Now, why are you getting all these introductions? I mean, sure, Peter Thiel's a very smart guy, but what is really going on here, because we now know how connected Ehud Barak was to Vexelberg and other people. We know that Netanyahu was also connected to Putin and company. What really is, this is one network that is basically introducing Peter Thiel to this network. And of course, the other person who's very close to the Israelis is Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, very close to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel invested in Jared Kushner's world. And it was also Palantir who helped Jared Kushner, when he was running the digital operation for Donald Trump. Palantir was used, although it wasn't officially granted to them, but they were allowed to use some Palantir staffers at the digital operation in Texas. That Jared Kushner oversaw. And Jared asked all his good friends in Silicon Valley for help. One of those friends was, of course, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel also waxed lyrical about how Jared Kushner was the CEO of the campaign. There's a lot of questions, a lot of brand new questions that are being asked right now. And we have to keep asking them about Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein's involvement in electing the president of the United States in his first term in 2016. So keep asking them, push these questions wherever you can. Keep making sure that your Congress people know this information. Keep making sure that you share all this stuff, because otherwise it gets landed up in an echo chamber. It becomes a bubble where only you and I are talking about it and we think we know everything. But what happens to everybody else outside who's not getting all this information? So please share this information. We're now linking Jeffrey Epstein to the election of Donald Trump in 2016. That's a big deal. And that is the show today. That is the FiveStack today. A little late, a little truncated, but we did it. So I'm glad we could do a full week of shows for you here. Next week, because I've been so focused on everything related to Jeffrey Epstein, I haven't done the narrative this week, our daily newsletter. That will return hopefully next week. But there's still more Epstein investigating to be done. Plus tonight we'll be doing a Michael Cohen special. We'll do that with Lev Parnas. Probably around 8 p.m. So hopefully you'll join us for that. A note, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. And it's a special time of the year for me. My mother passed away 2 years ago around this time. Valentine's Day is her anniversary. And because of that, and because she told me the meaning of love and a whole lot of other wonderful things, I am offering everybody a 24-hour sale for narrative.org, 20% off for Valentine's Day, starting, let's say, at midnight tonight, or maybe sooner if I can get it up sooner. It's rare that we do these sales for 24 hours, 20% off. If you haven't been able to get in on all of Narrative's paid subscription content, this is your opportunity at a discounted rate. It's a tribute to my mom, also a tribute to love. It's a tribute to you, because I love you guys. Wouldn't have made it through the last 2 years without you. Thank you so much for your support here on Narrative. Thank you to Dean for his support. Thank you to everybody who's been pulling out the stops, making sure that the Epstein stuff gets to the right eyes, that the Epstein story doesn't die. I told you months ago, the Epstein story was the story. I think we can say pretty surely now that, in fact, the Epstein revelations, and they're just beginning to come out, are huge. They're taking down former prime ministers. They're taking down ambassadors. They're taking down huge titans of corporations around the world. And today, Kathy Romler from Goldman Sachs. There will be many more that will have to resign their jobs before we're done with this. And it could be all the way to the very, very top of the United States government. Thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. We'll see you again later on at around 8, I think. Have a great Valentine's Day, everybody. You all deserve it. I hope you do something loving. If not with somebody, do something loving for yourself. Take yourself out on a date. Do something caring. We need more love in this world, and it's certainly a good reason to do it. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for being here on Narrative, and we'll see you again soon.